It's almost been 1 year to the day since we won an Olympic gold medal. What have you learned in that last year about yourself or about your career?
Going straight in for it. Okay. What I've learned is the process and the journey is what was most stimulating, not the end result. Because obviously it's class, it's amazing, it's almost hard to describe that kind of, especially the 24 hours. There was 24 hours where it was just like, what the heck? That is just so insane. And it's something you don't allow yourself, or I didn't anyway, allow myself to really, really think about. It's the stimulation and the excitement of the process that I enjoy the most.
Do you think that's easier said than done, especially after we won? Because it's something that I said straight after in the interviews was like, if I had fallen on my bum, I still would have like come out of this whole experience happy, feeling like a winner. I remember when we done the exhibition sessions here, and there's like members from the gymnastics club, just people from my hometown. I was doing the exhibition in my hometown of Newtonards, and it felt like I'd already won, as cliche as that is. But then in hindsight, I'm kind of thinking like, would I have thought that way if we didn't win? Would I've kind of thought in a more negative way if that wasn't the case?
I'm probably not as noble as that, in that I'm saying the process is really important. The end result is nice to concrete the efforts,
Yeah.
and to say all those sacrifices and everything that it takes to do something extraordinary, all of those extraordinary tasks and everything involved in that, it makes it worth it in a emotional sense to a degree, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So it's not very nice if you work your hardest that you know every day for 10 years, that you've done everything you can to make something happen, and if it doesn't pan out, it's not a very nice feeling. It's not necessarily because it's not strictly because of that end result, but it's nice to be rewarded and to have the clear, logical, hard work equals success.
Yeah, yeah, it's for sure that's the preferable outcome, isn't it? But I mean, I think even when I was saying that point that I just said there, like, what if it didn't happen? And I mean, that was the case in Tokyo with us, where it didn't happen. It was quite clear it didn't happen. But I remember like a little moment that I had that was, I guess, a victory in itself, which I felt was like really emotionally rewarding. Was the day before our final in Tokyo, when I'd done like one of the best routines of all time in training, like
Yeah.
hands down, probably within like 6/10 deduction in the whole routine. It was just insane. And I remember doing that routine, finishing it, and although there's no celebration or crowd in the stadium, or it wasn't even in the stadium, it was just in a back training hall with a couple of Chinese gymnasts watching me.
Yeah.
It was still like, I've really just done that entire program, and like I'm so proud of myself for doing that. Like I gave it 100%, and like that, when I look back on Tokyo, that's, I mean, the qualification routine and that routine the day before finals is like on par with each other, which is a crazy thing to say, that a training day is like the same emotional feeling as becoming an Olympian, making an Olympic final. But there's such a sense of gratification that comes with just knowing you've done like everything you possibly could. Like, to me, when we done that routine the day before the Tokyo Olympic final, it was kind of like, well, all the hard work is done. Now it's time to just kind of let it play out.
Yeah.
It played out not as we intended. Obviously, it was one of two routines of probably 100 plus routines in that program that we fell on, which is a mad statistic in itself. Like,
Yeah, the success rate was insane. There was only 2 routines in that whole program that was failed, and one of them was that final.
Yeah.
But I absolutely see your point, and that's what I mean is that I'm maybe not as noble as that, in that I left Tokyo feeling like that just wasn't fair. Like that outcome wasn't fair to the hard work that was put into it, and not just for that 10-week program, but the years prior to that, and you can go as far back as you want, your lifetime if you want, and that's where it's not the end result that necessarily matters, but it's nice to be rewarded for that hard work. And I felt Tokyo, there wasn't a clear reward for that hard work. Whereas Paris, leaving Paris, I felt just a huge weight off my own shoulders. It's no one else. When it comes to me and my standards, whether it's whatever I do, it's always about the pressure I put on myself. There's no one else putting pressure on me. I'm very confident that that's the truth. But I put a lot of pressure on myself, not just through my work ethic, which I always want to be unrivaled to anyone that I know. I always said it as a gymnast that I'm likely not going to be the best in any of the gyms that I train at or the competitions, but I know I can be the hardest working. And I always applied that to everything I do, including coaching.
It's kind of controlling the controllables, isn't it? And I think if you've kind of got, I was going to say self-centered approach, I think that has negative connotations to it, but I mean, ultimately it kind of is. It's self-centered in a negative and a positive way, probably sometimes leaning more negatively in regards to the mental punishments you might put yourself through for not doing something or not working hard enough. Self-centeredness isn't an egotistical thing. It's kind of just your motivations are based from what you actually want to achieve.
Yeah, I'm quite obsessive with tasks. I'm very goal orientated, which to your point, it can and it's something I've come to realize at the moment. If I look back on the last 10 years of my life, I can definitely see how people outside of the gymnastics community could see that I was selfish in that it's tunnel vision on. If it wasn't in relation to achieving an Olympic medal or qualifying to the Olympics or whatever that short-term task was. So, it's European Championships, World Championships, qualify to Olympics, Olympic final, and then see what happens. Chunking those goals, if it wasn't pertaining to that, it was low reward for me. And I didn't really have much tolerance, and I would pretend, if I'm talking to people outside of the gymnastics community, I'm almost looking at my watch and being right, I need this done so I can get back to strategizing and thinking and writing and planning for what's important to me, which by definition is selfish, but it's about achieving that version of success that you've created in your own mind. And for me, those were end results, and I was always chasing those end results. But now that those end results have been achieved, in that you have now won every title that you can in sports. There's in the sport of gymnastics, you've achieved every title possible. So all of the end results have now been achieved. But I've come to realize that it was always the process that I loved. It was always that hunt and that working hard and going to sleep exhausted to the point where I wrote down in my diary about 2 years ago, I think I'm addicted to exhaustion. And it's something I can't...
Interesting you choose exhaustion though. Why not any other kind of emotion?
It has to be... When I go to sleep, if I don't feel physically and mentally tired, I feel uneasy. And I'm not saying that's right for anyone watching. I'm not saying that's right. It's just how I've conditioned my brain. And it's under that premise of no stone unturned. So if I'm exhausted, unless I'm just creating work, which I try and always... challenge, am I creating work here and running a business now? Sometimes I think I'll create a list.
You're just being busy to be busy.
And I challenge that all the time. I don't think I am, because everything needs to be done all the time.
I do hope that you're enjoying the first of many podcasts that will be coming to this channel. And if you want to support the podcast coming your way, and also more YouTube videos as well, head over to the Patreon. The link will be in the description. Over on the Patreon, we're going to be doing some very exclusive things. We're going to be doing giveaways, Q&As. We'll even be going and doing like workouts with the likes of Luke and any gymnasts that are going to be on the podcast. So it's going to be a really exciting time to be on that Patreon. Check it out in the link in the description.
But I always try and challenge that to make sure, am I just trying to be busy to feel important and to feel responsible and to have accountability and to be important as an adult?
Yeah.
I'm sure sometimes that is the case. It's nice to say how busy you are.
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of a big conclusion I've reached it was kind of 6 months after the Paris Olympics I reached this conclusion, where I was doing a lot of that thinking, like, what was I actually doing it for? It was like, no doubt, winning an Olympic gold medal, that was the thing creeping into my mind on like the really difficult days. Like, so if you needed to push through a really tough session, the kind of excuse I always said to me was like, well, you need to do it if you want to win an Olympic gold medal. And it seems so simple, but like that actually does get you off your butt when you're down, or where you're feeling lazy or tired. And then if you're just thinking, I need to do this to win the Olympics, then it does get you off your butt. But when I do look back in hindsight on like a net average of what motivated me to do gymnastics, it's just loving the sport, which is, I think, a cool realization. And I think that kind of mindset exploration after the games, it took me out of a lot of that like post-games blues. I think because I know that I never rode my whole career off just winning the Olympics, because there's so much more I get from gymnastics on top of that. So I think I had like a little period of this straight after the games where I was just coming into the gym and like didn't have a set program, was just like doing high bar, trampoline. Like I had like a bit of like this is class, I just get to do this. Okay. So I think it was a cool thing to realize, and I think for the rest of my career, acknowledging that I love gymnastics so much is what motivates me. I think that's gonna do a lot of good, to be honest. But also, I'm still a competitor through and through, and anybody who steps in my way or challenges me in any way, I want to strip them off the podium and take all of their medals and push them off the pommel horse if needs be. At the same time, there's just a competitor in me that will forever be wanting to win everything I can.
Yeah, that's probably takes more priority in my brain. Is I'm very competitive in most things I do. It's just the way my brain is conditioned. But I have this weird urgency to everything that I'm wanting to achieve. I want it to be done as soon as possible, and it's like an anxiety to get things done quickly. So even when it's something that's meant to be recreational, I'll be trying to do it perfect and quickly to get it done, to achieve a goal, and then to be like, yeah, I achieved that, that's good. I'm sure someone could dig deeper into that, but that's definitely something I've discovered about myself, is just that urgency. And I think looking back on it, it was really important from a coaching point of view. Like going back from the day one, I had this urgency where, when I first started working with you, I just felt like a 10-year gap is going to come in so quickly. Yeah. And so every day I felt an urgency to get as much done as possible in that day, and then it just conditions you to be doing everything. You think back on those early days, and it was like 20,000 steps in a gymnastics session, running between doing wasted. Everything.
It's so true though, because I think a lot of people, and if we even narrow it down to a lot of gymnastics coaches, you say 10 years to them, and they look at their gymnast who's 13 years old, and they're like, 10 years is ages, like so far away, like until they're a senior athlete, and it flies in for them, and before they know it, they've missed certain milestones because of complacency or lack of that urgency. But like, we both know this very well, gymnastics just moves at an incredibly fast pace, and there's always going to be somebody moving really quickly, that you see how quickly the sport evolves, how quickly the rules can change. You got to keep up so much, and I think that sense of urgency is what led us to like such a linear path of success, of progression as well. Like you do look at the accolades we've got, and it's almost like going up the ranks.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we got a Commonwealth title, we got a European title, we got a World Cup medal. It like happened all in order, which is quite rare, to be honest.
I think you compound on that hard work. So that urgency means that you do more. And when you do more, that compounds. And as long as you have a bit of luck on your side in that you don't get injured at the wrong time, or you don't get sick at the wrong time or whatever, then that hard work just will meet that opportunity at the right time. And if you're prepared correctly, then it's class. But I remember a really good coach telling me it will take you a couple generations to get it right.
Yeah, okay.
And I really respect that individual. And I just remember just being like, no, I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to waste 2 generations. And so I had this absolute need for trying to learn everything I could. Like, honestly, it was like I was a madman. I would wake up in the night, and I have my best thinking when it's quiet. You know, it's why I actually nowadays I listen to less and less things. Raw dogging it when that. Yep. If I'm at the gym, I don't listen to music now. If I'm driving, I don't listen to music. It's not like I'm punishing myself or anything. It's like that quietness allows me to think. Yeah. And I remember back when I was younger, and I always felt happiest just going to sleep and having that quiet time. And now that I know a little bit more about the brain, that was me learning. That was me processing, learning, and thinking critically about the day, good, bad, and indifferent. It wasn't like a negative feeling. It was very, very positive. I always just remember feeling so at ease. And so I'm trying to bring that back in by not being as distracted. And nowadays, if you're not clued in, you will be distracted every waking hour.
It's so true. Like, and I've brought this up to teammates of mine as well, where it's like when they're not doing gymnastics, they're on their phone, or when they're not talking to somebody, they're on their phone. I mean, the phone is the big culprit here, isn't it? And there's no point in tiptoeing around it. That's probably 99% of the distraction issues. And I remember saying to a couple of my teammates, because we were just driving in the car, and I was the one driving, so I was just sitting in silence. And then they were, for like an hour or an hour and a half, they were just always on their phone. Yeah. And I just remember saying to them, like, do you never just like get entertained by your thoughts? And I think like allowing yourself to be entertained by your thoughts, you can achieve so much. You can get so much more, obviously, than you get from your phone. But it like you said, it's solving problems, it's thinking through things, it's planning for the future, reminiscing on the past. There's so many things that your brain can just do in those moments of silence. Yeah. And if you forever drown out that silence with, be it your phone, music, anything, being around people sometimes is enough to drown out those thoughts. There's something so nice about just sitting with your thoughts and your imagination and solving problems.
I love it, Matt. And to your point, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. They think something's wrong if it's silent. And a lot of the time I don't even realize I'm doing it. And if I'm a little bit more tired, I'll be a little bit quieter, and that's normal, obviously. But it's just me being a bit slower processing my day or whatever. But I love it. I swear there is nothing more calming to my soul than just being in my garden, alone and in silence. And there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe to someone else they might be like, Christ, what's wrong with that guy? But I'm just processing, I'm just thinking, I'm strategizing, and it's in a calm, fun, natural environment. And so I'm bringing that back as much as possible, because I think actually there was a long period that I was in such an urgent rush for that future harvest of wisdom. So I was just trying to learn everything because I knew it would compound and it would come in handy eventually, that every waking moment I was just learning. Yeah. So I was listening to, podcasts. I don't read. I'd like to say I was reading lots of books, but I don't really have the attention span for it. If I read books, it either puts me to sleep after 2 pages or I realize I've just been dreaming for 10 minutes and I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah, you've already flicked 10 pages.
I've read the same line 5 times because I'm drifting off. So something I would like to try and hone in on that skill a little bit more.
Yeah.
But podcasts, trying to just learn as much as possible, audiobooks and things like that. And I realized that was actually also distracting me.
Yeah, it's true. There's too much information sometimes for your brain to process.
Yeah.
And I think almost when you do go into that dream state, or, you could say you've got ADHD or attention problems, all you like, but I think in a more positive light, it's your brain like just trying to figure things out, and it's overlapping that distraction that you have in front of you, whether that be a podcast, audiobook, a book. It's your brain saying that there's like a problem and it needs solved, and that's why you're thinking about that instead of reading the words on the page.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's nice to actually like give into that, and like if you do find yourself distracted in that way, like just put the book down or put your phone down and let your brain think. Just real quick, guys, I just want to give a shout out to Luke and Origin Gymnastics. We're actually recording the entire podcast in a storeroom in Origin Gymnastics. We kind of turned it into a little podcast room. So I hope you're enjoying the setup. I'm going to be making little tweaks here and there to make it look even nicer. But big shout out to Luke for letting us use the facility. And if you want any gymnastics classes in that local area, make sure you head over to origingymnastics.com to find out more about the many classes that are on. Also, a huge thank you to Red Bull for supplying a bunch of the equipment that I'm using in this podcast. It's always great to be partnered with a brand that supports my endeavours even outside of gymnastics, so thank you so much, Red Bull.
It's very true. I didn't sleep very well last night, as it happens, and I was messaging some of the staff with I'd solved something that was and it was an issue that was coming into play for September. Our September term's going to be busy, and there was a problem that I couldn't solve, and it came to me at 2:10 last night, and I had to then message it before I forget it. Normally I just voice note myself, which I have in my WhatsApp. I've just got years of me talking to myself.
Nice.
But I'd messaged them both, and we've now solved that. But
awesome.
It wasn't. I wasn't like desperately tired last night. I just, for some reason, had woken up. It was just that calmness and stillness allowed my brain just to go, boom, there's the problem solved. I think they're called alpha wave moments, and it's literally to do with that quietness. Your brain changes its hertz of how it's processing, and there's a slight, I think it's called alpha wave. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure someone will point it out, but it just you come up with your most creative ideas during those moments. People get it in the shower, for example, because there usually isn't the distractions.
And like sleeping on something as well. Like I know it's just like a saying, like I'll sleep on it, like, but it works. And see the amount of times I rely on that. Yeah. Like obviously I rely on it a huge amount in gymnastics. I remember when I was doing the dancing show, it was like I couldn't remember the routine, but like I wasn't worried because I was like, no, it's fine. I'll sleep on it and I'll get it tomorrow. Like it'll process through my sleep. I remember my dance partner being like, no, like we've got like one day until we have to do like the dress rehearsal. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like I'll get it in my sleep. And I just relied on that, and it did work because I just knew, and probably thanks to gymnastics, I knew how reliable that is. Yeah. Is that just sleeping on something, I know it'll be on my brain. So when I sleep on it, wake up the next day, it's just like locked in or something. So it's a pretty sweet thing to know about, at least. But 1 year on from Paris Olympics, I'm sitting here in a sling. I've got a stubble. Nice. For God's sake.
Looks good.
What do you make of that? That's a pretty, I mean, it's been a long time since I've done full gymnastics, full pommel, because of this injury that we've had. I guess I should say my emotions around me getting surgery on my shoulder first, and then I'd like to hear yours as well. Because it's such a long time that I've been injured, 10 months I've been injured for. I haven't been able to do gymnastics properly for that length of time. And my first thought is relief when I got this surgery. Because, again, going back to the motivation of why I do gymnastics, it's to do it, it's to enjoy it, and when you're in pain, you can avail to this with your leg. When you're in pain, you don't enjoy doing gymnastics. No, and
it's a distraction.
It's a distraction. It's demotivating. the only thing on your mind really, and it stops you from doing what you enjoy. It's like that kind of barrier in the way. And when, of course, we missed European Championships because of this surgery, we're now missing Worlds. So those are the only two real negatives that I see to this whole scenario, where I'm like, that's a real shame. I can't like retain my titles or prove that I'm still the best in the world at those events, and a medal in any event is always wanted. But I'm disappointed I'm missing those two events, but at the same time I'm super relieved that this is getting done, and that I can finally do gymnastics pain-free, hopefully, after this. And spirits are high because of that, actually. Like, a lot of people are almost expecting this to be like the low point in my return to competition. Like, oh, Flip, you got surgery, you must be like quite, upset or disappointed. And I'm actually probably in the best spirits I have been, and the most involved in learning more about gymnastics than I have been in the last year, than ever. So what are your thoughts as coach, having your gymnast in this position and almost missing out on a year of gymnastics after the Olympic Games win?
I think to your point, it's probably just clarity now, is rather than the unknown, which is really frustrating because you don't know what on earth is going on. So now you've had all the specialists look at it, you've had the surgery, the prognosis is great, and so now you've got a plan to work towards. Was probably why I would assume you're feeling more at ease now, because now you've got a plan.
Yeah.
And having that plan, you're working towards something, so that progress is there each day, that you'll feel that progress towards getting fully better. And the progress, I think, is correlated to happiness for those that are growth mindset orientated.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, it's typical that it just because it was that storybook ending in Paris, it doesn't mean that's just the way life is. And yeah, tough cookies. It just is what it is. I don't think it's any bad thing necessarily. I think the emotional and physical and mental requirements for doing everything you did in Paris is huge, and probably so large that it's hard to explain. But I think that this gap in gymnastics can be a real positive, in that it just helps you reset, recalibrate, and go for it again.
Yeah. I do see this as being a kind of, it's like a new chapter. Obviously it felt like a new chapter after we won gold, but then this is like the bridging point of like, okay, don't do gymnastics for a year then, and then come back and hopefully be better than ever, have a new code of points, it's like a big reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a new motivation as well, as we say, like, we've got all the titles. What else is going to motivate me now? And that's a genuine question. It's not rhetorical. It's a genuine question. What's going to motivate me now? And I think this whole gap in gymnastics is what's needed to answer that question as well.
Well, I said to you shortly after Paris, we had a discussion in here, and I remember saying to you, I don't think you should come back to competition until you're hungry for it again. And I think this kind of helps that.
Yeah, I guess
it would certainly make you realise, I know you want to continue and that's great, but if you were on the fence of, because you have achieved everything, a lot of people would say, well, you could retire, or you can keep going. Like, an opportunity or 10-year gap or 10-month gap is going to force that, because you're either going to really like not training or it's going to be very obvious that you're uncomfortable with this, you want to get back into that. So I think it's emotionally a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, and it allows then for a full re-energizing, a full repair mode, and just going all in again to breaking every record that there was to break.
I think so. And after I announced the surgery had happened and people put together the dots and were like, okay, he's not going to go to World Championships and like show that he's the best in the world. Like, I know sitting here, although not physically able, I'm still the best pommel horse worker in the world. And I know that all of the competitors out there, I can beat them. And that's a cool feeling. That's like a motivating feeling. Like, I think, if if I was sitting here kind of defeated, like, I don't know, I'm not currently the best in the world. I think I am currently the best in the world. I'm just not physically able to show it, unfortunately.
I get what you mean.
And I know that with this new rules and new code of points, I know that I can really take advantage of that and show what kind of caliber of pommel worker I am. That I can win multiple titles over multiple code of points and just show how well-rounded of a pommel worker I am. Okay guys, so that is the first part of this multiple part series conversation that I'll be doing with Luke on this channel. I'm super excited for the next conversation I'll have with Luke. If you would like me to touch on any topics in particular for the next videos, make sure you comment them below, and I will certainly be bringing up the very interesting ones that you guys, I'm sure, will come up with. So I hope you enjoyed it. Stay positive, keep smiling. I'll catch you guys in the next podcast.